Kaboom! What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to do an Ableton tutorial for the newbies that are fresh to the game and want a no frills, how do I get beat making, straight to the point video. I'm going to do 3 videos in this series to help the complete noob make sweet beats by the end of it as quickly as possible. So let's dive in. You're going to open up Ableton, you're going to be presented with the screen. You don't want to give a fuck about what that screen is about, and you want to go straight to the top right hand side where you see 3 horizontal lines, and this is going to take you to the view that is for the beat makers, for the dudes that want to make the house bump. Yeah, this is the screen that you want to see, right? What you can see is 4 tracks, right? That's what the default setting gives you, and it's got MIDI and audio written on them. It's really important if you're going into beat making to understand the difference between MIDI and audio, so I'm going to give it a go, and hopefully you will capture and harness the intelligence and the knowledge that is needed to take these 2 pieces of information and make killer beats. So MIDI is going to be when you are using MIDI signals from an external device like a keyboard. I'm going to show you what we got here. We got some keyboards or some drum pads that the iPad is sitting on, and you're going to send signals to the computer, and the computer is going to create the sound, right? So you've got computer creating the sound through signals that you're sending it through random other devices or even your keyboard, and then you've got audio, which is previously recorded or audio that you're gonna record. It is basically where the sound source responsible for creating the sound is not the computer. Got it? Computer creates the sound, not the computer. Now obviously in music production, that these 2 different ways of using sound need different buttons and things to help them get the best out of doing those processes, right? So MIDI, we're going to go into this track, and we're going to see that MIDI has 3 buttons here that you can use that are going to help you switch it on and off. So that's what that button does. We have S, which stands for solo, which means that just that track's going to play. And you've got the arm track, which is going to be basically, yo, I'm ready to record some serious hits up on this MIDI track, so I need to hit that arm button, yo, straight. And yeah, moving on, we're going to go up to the transport function. Here you see it says tap, tap. You want to tap that if you understand and hear the tempo of the rhythm that you want to create. So you hit the tap tempo 4 times, like, yeah, I got 81 BPM. So there you go, it sets it up. Now BPM is what us producers and anyone that's involved in music use as the language for determining how fast a beat is, which is basically how many beats per minute, BPM, are there. So at a 60 BPM beat, there is 1 beat per second, as there's 60 seconds in a minute, right? So different genres of music use different BPMs, and you know, whatever tickles your fancy, you should get down and know that business, right? So basically, as we move across, we're gonna be. It's important to know that the metronome is something that's really gonna help you guys keep your things in time when you don't have anything recorded on your beat and you just want to play some drums in on your keyboard, or you just want to play some keys. You want to make sure that you're recording that to some time signature and not just playing over a blank space of time, because as you can see as we zoom in over here, Ableton's got a bunch of lines which show you where in time your MIDI files are or your audio files are. See how I mentioned both of them separately as separate things? Get that in your membrane. Yeah, so moving on, we've got play, stop, record, right? I'm gonna click so you can see where that is. And the plus button is overdub. Now, overdub is basically if you want to ensure that when you're recording MIDI, for example, that you want it to keep adding on what you've already recorded instead of erasing what you've recorded, you want to select the plus button, because if you don't select the plus button, guess what's going to happen? It's going to erase whatever you did. So it's definitely an important thing to lock onto, because sometimes that can cause frustration at the beginning. Then we have the loop part of this transport bar, right? The only thing that you need to concern yourself with right now is this button in the middle. As you can see, it highlights these bars over here, which is basically your indicator showing you where the loop bar is starting and ending, and you can manipulate the size of this by dragging it. It's an incredibly useful tool, and you will be so sick and tired of using this tool and frustrated with all of its ins and outs, because you just use it in every goddamn thing. Because you know, you want to be able to zoom in on a certain part of your track. You want to have your track just be playing out as you're jamming along, trying to find those sweet melodies, and this is going to help you do it, right? So moving along to the top right hand side, we basically have this MIDI button and the 0% there, which is gonna basically, the 0% is gonna show you your CPU usage, and you just wanna monitor this. You wanna make sure that you're not going over 100%, because when that starts to happen, you're gonna get distortion in the sound, you're gonna get lag, you're gonna get latency, meaning things are gonna be recording late. It's gonna disrupt your workflow, it's gonna stop you from being a musical genius. So you really just wanna make sure you're not layering up too much stuff. There are methods and techniques to controlling your CPU usage, to manage it, to make sure that you can get the most out of your computer, which we'll go into later. And then this MIDI part is going to show you when you're receiving MIDI data from your MIDI devices. So it's troubleshooting to make sure that, yo, check it out, man, I'm receiving some shit. You're going to see two lights flashing there with the two boxes. If you click on MIDI, some magical stuff's gonna happen, but you're only gonna learn about that in probably the third installment of this. I'm ready not to show what's going on next, but I'm gonna take it step by step, as you should do when learning this. Now, this is all that I'm gonna bring to the table for this first introduction. Remember, this is a video. If I went over your head with some of these things because I was like speaking so quickly, that's not a problem, because you can just like pause the video and rewind and play. I hope this video series will aid you in your ability to conquer the world and make sick beats. Boom!